Hi, we're gonna watch Parasite.
Okay, so what can you say about the movie?
I think it had a really well created analysis on, well, overall, the movie was supposed to be a criticism about capitalism and the difference in social classes, and I think it executed it in a way that was both very in your face, but also extremely subtle in its actual criticism. So, as you're watching the movie, you know that there were certain messages being portrayed, like, rich people are ignorant, the poor are constantly suffering because of their lack of education, wealth, all of the things that they don't have access to. But also, there were a lot more subtle criticisms throughout the film that you really have to watch it to truly understand. And I don't know, the way that it was filmed was really well done, in my opinion. Like, as you're watching the movie, you notice that the characters not only are separated by social class, but are also divided in their actual portrayal in the movie. Like, they're visually divided, and you can see that the director purposely created the lines that which divides those characters. And I'm trying really hard not to spoil anything for anybody who still hasn't watched the movie, but I definitely recommend that you watch it so that when you look back at this video, you're like, oh, okay, I know what you're referring to. And the pace of the movie was really interesting because it was flowing consistently, and then all of the sudden, it
kind of went to like a halt and like towards the middle.
Yeah, towards the middle, it was like, it was like flowing like this. The middle was kind of like da-da-da. And then during like the last literally 30 minutes of the movie, everything started just falling apart. And all of a sudden, things were happening one on top of the other. And you were like, wait, hold up. I'm still trying to recover from the last scene. But it wasn't executed in the way that was like, oh my God, that was super rushed. It was done in like a manner that still flowed, even though the pace changed to a more rapid one. What else can I say? I think all of the actors and actresses portrayed their characters very well, and I think they really did a great job. Like, their performances were all emotionally stimulating, and you could really understand like the motives that the motives and emotions that the characters had through that whole movie. Yeah.
I just felt that there's so many loopholes that it was not properly executed like the ones with a kid, and how did Jessica turn him to behave well. So
But I think like the loopholes are kind of part of the movie's charm, because I mean, I was about to spoil it. Okay, but I feel like you just spoiled it. Hold up.
I'm sorry I spoiled, but I just want to feel like you want to dig more to understand fully what happened, what conspired within that scene, but I feel like it was not fully executed in that.
I don't know. I think that just certain information left out from the movie, I think it added more to it, because it's like you're never gonna know the full detail of everything. And even though it's a movie that's not completely realistic, it still has those realistic elements. But it's like, obviously it was more dramatized for the film industry. Because, I mean, most movies have that. But it wasn't dramatized to an extent where it was like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it wasn't overly dramatic, but it was definitely dramatic.
I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
I think the point was that it wasn't trying to replicate what this socioeconomic warfare really looked like. It was more of this like dramatized like story, and almost this like visual representation of it.
But the nice part was that it still replicated the social, like you said, it still kind of replicated it in a way that was understandable. And I feel like if it wasn't dramatized, people wouldn't really understand the message behind the film. Like I said, there's a lot of underlying messages that when you look at it,
that
it's
you
like,
really have
oh.
to dig into so that you will fully understand what
And I feel like if
happened,
it didn't do that, then a lot of people would have missed a lot of those.
But I feel like it won an Oscar, right?
Four
For
different Oscars.
awards, like categories.
Yeah.
And was the first Best Picture that was also Best Foreign Film.
So that doesn't convince me on that, because I feel like there's more movies that deserve more, but it's my opinion. So.
And feel
And
free to prove Mom wrong in the comment section.
Bash me, it's okay. I try not to sleep because I always sleep on movies, but this time I try not to sleep to understand fully what really happened in that movie, why it was so sensationalized. But there's really part that I really got bored and almost fell asleep. So yeah.
It won Best Original Screenplay, Best Foreign Language Film, Best Director, and Best Picture.
And that too, because I didn't realize that it's Korean, right?
Yes.
It's a Korean movie. I hate reading captions because I will really fall asleep. So I try to open my eyes, not fall asleep, but I'm on the edge of feeling like I'm so bored.
I'm learning Korean, so that was nice for my vocabulary.
I think, like, towards the beginning of the third act was where, like, the pacing kind of, like, faltered a little bit. But everything else was, like, really, like, well structured.
Can you pass me a napkin, please?
Okay. Comment down below if you like her review. What else? What can you call it? Review or reaction to that movie. And I'm sorry, we contradict on our opinions, and
We always contradict.
we always
Y'all should know
contradict.
this by now.
That I don't agree with her and she doesn't agree with me, but
And the only movie we've ever agreed on, like 100%, was Crazy Rich Asians.
oh yeah, that too. That's the only movie.
That's the only movie that both of us have like loved. Otherwise, we're both like, eh, nah, nah.
Thank you so much for watching. This is the Mads of San Diego, and this is Saint Justine. And comment down below, subscribe, and like our channels. Bye.
So we just watched Parasite. What did you think about it?
I mean, it was a pretty good movie. It was well made. Like, cause didn't it get an award?
Yeah, it won 4 Oscars.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why it won. It was really well made.
good.
Yeah,
Did you actually like the story? I did.
I did. It was really. It was
Mom
interesting.
didn't like the story. She actually really didn't like the story.
I can't stand it. I almost fell asleep. I tried not to make it like how it feels and why it won an Oscars, but I was telling you, okay, I'm so bored. I'm falling asleep. But anyways.
Ryan's hands were like this for half of the movie because I was getting anxiety. Okay, but yeah, it was a really good movie. I'll probably do a more in detailed one later on our way home, but we need to get this kid home, so bye-bye.